There is a very unusual kind of person. They can laugh in situations that would leave other people completely shaken. Even when things get tense, they can still make a joke. Even when life hits them once again, they remain calm in a way that is hard to understand. From the outside, people think they are carefree, strong, or simply too used to chaos, but the truth is usually much deeper. Many people who can laugh in the face of pain are not like that because life has never hurt them. They are like that because they have already been through so much that their nervous system has learned an entirely different way to survive. If you pay close attention, you will notice it. There are people who rarely react impulsively when something unexpected happens. Someone cuts them off in traffic and they do not immediately lose their temper. Their mind is already a few steps ahead. Sometimes they think that maybe the other person is going through something. Maybe they are stressed. Maybe they are in a hurry. It is not that they are always forgiving. It is that when you have already lived through real storms, you see other people's small rain through a different lens. Your brain no longer works the way it once did. It is not broken. It has been trained. Trained by periods in life when, in order to stay safe, you had to observe quickly, understand quickly, and adapt quickly. That is why some people seem almost immune to chaos. Not because they do not feel pain, not because they are not tired, but because they are no longer as easily shattered as they once were. There is a quiet toughness inside them, a kind of inner knowing that says, "I've survived worse than this." When you have spent many days living in a state of not knowing what might happen next, you begin to build a kind of endurance that other people can hardly see. It is not loud, but it is real. What is interesting is that people like this often do not become cold the way others assume. In fact, they usually become very good at understanding other people's pain. They can tell when someone is pretending to be okay. They can hear a slight change in someone's voice. They can see a strained smile and know that something behind it is not right. Other people hear a sentence. They hear the emotion beneath it. Not because they are mysterious, simply because they have been learning that language for far too long. They once had to read it in order to protect themselves, and now they can read it in other people too. People like this are often very good at reading silence, and that is what truly sets them apart. They do not just listen to what people say. They can feel the emotional color inside the silence. Heavy, disappointed, irritated, hurt, tired. Some people walk into a room and only notice the table, the lights, and the windows. But others walk in and immediately sense the emotional temperature of the room. They know whether the room feels tense, distant, or whether someone is trying hard to suppress something. That sensitivity can be exhausting, but it also makes them very deep people. Psychology has a rather beautiful term for this post-traumatic growth. It means that some people, after going through pain, do not just recover, they grow in a different way. They see life more clearly. They know better what truly matters. They are no longer easily drawn to things that look shiny but feel empty. They come to value peace, kindness, genuine connection, and even the smallest moments they might once have overlooked. A quiet afternoon, a sincere message, a sunset, someone genuinely asking how they are doing. To them, those things are not small at all. If you are also the kind of person who can be deeply moved by ordinary things, the kind of person who sees depth in what others pass by, comment number 8. I want to know how many people are quietly living this way. But the other side of being this kind of person is that it becomes very hard to truly relax. Their nervous system does not easily switch off its alert mode. They often want to sit facing the door. They prepare several backup plans in advance. Even for a simple meeting, they already have an exit route, a backup plan, and a way to handle things if something goes wrong. That does not mean they are paranoid. It only means their body has learned through experience that safety is not always the default. And once the body has learned that, it does not forget easily. There is something a little sad too. People who have gone through too much often minimize what they themselves have endured. They say, "It's okay, that was a long time ago," or "Other people have had it worse." They tend not to want to be seen as victims, because during all those years of surviving, they held themselves together by believing they were still okay. If they now have to admit how badly they were hurt, it can make them feel as though they are becoming weak. So they make their story smaller, they make their pain smaller, and they keep moving as if nothing happened. In relationships, they are often a living paradox. They can be incredibly loyal. If you need them, they are there. If you are in crisis at 3 in the morning, they will still answer the phone. But when it is their turn to speak about their own needs, they go quiet. They change the subject. They say, "It's nothing." They are good at being there for others, but not very good at letting others be there for them. Why? Because in their experience, closeness has not always come with safety. Sometimes the closer you get, the more it hurts. The more you trust, the easier it is to break. So even though they long for connection, they still keep an invisible distance. Many of them grow up with a very deep belief that they rarely say out loud, "Do not depend too much on anyone." It sounds strong, but it is also very lonely. When you have seen the price of dependence, you learn to do everything yourself, handle everything yourself, hold yourself together by yourself, and endure by yourself. Little by little, you no longer know how to place the emotional weight of your life on someone else. Even when someone good enters your life, your body may still not fully believe it. It stays guarded. It stays cautious. It stays prepared for disappointment. And yet these same people are often extremely adaptable. They change jobs, move homes, their plans fall apart, relationships shift, life takes an unexpected turn, and somehow they still manage. Not because they enjoy instability, but because they have become too familiar with adjusting to circumstances. Some people grow up in stability, so change feels like a crisis. Others grow up in turbulence, so change feels like just another version of something familiar. They may be exhausted, but they can still adapt. And then there is one more thing that is especially characteristic humor, especially dark humor. They joke about the very things that once hurt them, not because they are numb, not because they do not take it seriously, but because when you can laugh at your pain, you are reclaiming part of your power from it. At that point, the joke is no longer just for amusement. It becomes armor. It becomes resistance. It becomes a way of saying to life, "You hurt me, but you did not take all of me." People like this also tend to have a very strange relationship with control. They may care intensely about small things, yet stay surprisingly calm about big ones. They may overthink which cup to use, which message to send first, which sentence to say, or what time to leave. But when it comes to major uncertainty like work, life, or the future, they can seem strangely at peace. Because they know one thing, big things are often outside their control. Small things, at least, still give them something they can hold on to. That is how they create a sense of certainty for themselves. But underneath all of that, there is still a very quiet sadness. Not the sadness of losing someone else, but the sadness of losing a version of themselves, the version that used to trust more easily, used to feel lighter, used to laugh without first checking whether it was safe, used to enter a conversation without rehearsing it in their mind, used to not scan silence for danger. They miss a version of themselves that maybe even they can no longer remember clearly. And that is a very difficult kind of longing to explain. Some people do not only grieve the old version of themselves, they also grieve a childhood they never fully got to live. They grieve a softness they could not keep. They grieve a sense of freedom they only realized much later they had been missing. That sadness is not always obvious. It may only appear in small reactions, moments of hesitation, sleepless nights, or those moments when the heart suddenly sinks and they do not even know why. But it is there, and it is real. If you have ever felt that you are not only missing a person, but also missing an older version of yourself, comment number 9. Some kinds of sorrow are very hard to name, but once they are spoken, they make people feel far less alone. And maybe that is the deepest part of all this. People who have gone through too much do not just survive. They understand human beings in a more complicated way. They know that a person can be both strong and fragile, both kind and guarded, both hopeful and cautious. They know life can be beautiful and cruel at the same time. They know strength does not mean never falling apart. Strength means that after breaking so many times, you can still gather yourself and piece yourself back together, even if some of the pieces no longer fit exactly the way they once did. Maybe that is why many people like this become a source of support for others, like a lighthouse. Not because life was gentle with them, but because they remember clearly what darkness feels like. They shine not because they are perfect, but because they have walked through very dark stretches and still did not become darkness themselves. Their pain slowly turns into empathy, their survival slowly turns into depth, and even though it is not always easy to live with a mind like that, it is still a very rare kind of intelligence. Thank you for watching until the end. If this video touched a part of you, please like and subscribe so I can continue making deep content like this. And if you want, leave a comment telling me which part felt most like you. See you in the next video.